Zindering?
Zindering.
Zindering? Welcome back to the ZINDERING podcast. I'm Guy Livingston. Silence in music is usually about peace, meditation, tranquility. It can also be about surprise or power or astonishment. But during the ZINDERING festival, there were several concerts on the theme of silencing. So what is silencing as opposed to silence? Silencing is about the voices of the unheard, the voices of those who have been forgotten, or lost, or oppressed. Here's singer Golnar Shahyar.
You know, this is something that sometimes maybe you might experience in the family or in your culture or in the social settings, political settings. Sometimes silence is too hard to bear. My path was to find a voice to express what was not being said. So my music and who I am as a musician, as a woman, is a person who is trying to constantly find out a voice to talk about the things that were silenced, you can also say it like that, or had no words to talk about.
My name is Negar, and I want my voice to be heard.
We're listening to the opening of the trailer for a film entitled Female Voice of Iran, which was screened at the Flanders Mechelen.
It all begins with a dream I have. Female voices from all over Iran coming out of isolation, connecting and uniting.
Many women in Iran are forbidden from singing, and this film tells their stories.
Optimistic about women singing. It's illegal, literally, and society isn't ready yet for this issue.
خوشحالم که یک زن هستم. من میگم که آواز یه سازیه که هیچ حایلی نداره.
احساس میکنم که مسیر درستی اومدم و به چیزایی که میخواستم دارم میرسم.
Before the screening, I got to meet one of the filmmakers, Yalda Yazdani.
I should introduce you to Yalda first, I think.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Steven, sorry to interrupt. This is Guy Livingston. He's making a
Hello,
podcast
nice to
about
meet you.
festival. This is Yalda Yazdani.
What a pleasure. Yes.
No, unfortunately, I'm a musician. Also, I play tar. I play Persian tar. So I started playing music with the instrument, but exactly that time when I was a bachelor student in Tehran, and we wanted to make concerts many times, and then many situations that the women singers in our band, they could not come with us on the stage, and this became my first question. So my name is Yalda Yazdani. I'm coming from Iran and I based in Berlin. There should be many women songs and music that I like to discover. So this was the reason I started travel in 2009. Since till today, I travel every time to different regions and I try to like to learn more and more about the music traditions and culture. And it still is the road is continuous. It's really rich. In each region, they have their own style, and also the stories of these women are very inspiring and very touching. And because of these regulations and situation, many of these voices are not heard in the world. Even inside Iran, many people, they don't know about the these music traditions, and this is because we call it the film Female Voice of Iran, but of course in this film only maybe 20 women are participating, but there are many other women that we could not meet them, unfortunately, because of the limitation of time, or we could not travel in all places in Iran. But yes, there are many voices that still maybe could not be heard.
So let's go back a century to Armenia, where an entire culture was silenced during the genocide, including their music. Here is the Akhtamar Quartet performing music by Judith, Adler de Oliveira.
So I'm Judith Adler de Oliveira, and I'm based in Brussels. I'm a composer. Well, you know what happened to the Armenian people, so it's strange that in their repertoire there are many love songs, and many love songs about absence, about one of the lovers being away or dead. And some of those love songs are now sung as songs of exile. It's, you know, the lover is actually the land that we are hoping to come back to. There is the silence of being away, or also the fear of having one's cultural heritage being silenced, of losing one's language. And so it's funny how the Armenian people manage to maintain this heritage alive, even though they are dispersed. There is a diaspora. So yes, that's something that is really revealing in this music, that helps to keep roots alive.
That was the Akhtamar String Quartet from a performance entitled Armenian Miniatures. Later that same day, I went to hear the Mechelen Chamber Orchestra at the Bekijnhof Kerk, yet another spectacular architectural cathedral full of vivid colors and with a rather echoey acoustic. I was transfixed by this music, which is by French composer Olivier Messiaen. The program was entitled Entartete Musik and included music which was banned by the Nazis. Forbidden music. Silenced music. But it also included the Quartet for the End of Time by Messiaen. Now, Messiaen himself was neither banned nor Jewish, but he was imprisoned in the Stalag 8A, a prisoner of war camp in Görlitz, Germany. While at the camp, he wrote the quartet, and it was premiered on 15th of January 1941 in front of about 400 prisoners and their guards. To this day, the composition captures for me both the terror and the hope that were possible, sort of this potential resilience in the face of such brutality. But the piece is also, there's a kind of desperation to it. It's absolutely symbolic of the tragedy of the war and what was still to happen. This was only in 1941, but Messiaen could see clearly what was about to happen, what was happening. He said afterwards, "I was never listened to with such rapt attention and comprehension." Silence in music is something eloquent, something which helps us understand emotion, passion. It's part of the language of musical communication. But silencing is not like that at all. Silencing is not communication. It's not. It's a lack of communication. It's something that could have been there but was not said. It's something that was prevented, terminated, or killed. So this is the most awful, most horrible version of musical silence. Yet the irony is that we've heard nothing today except beautiful music, and that's entirely the point. If we choose to remember history, to remember people's stories and their music, then we choose to unsilence them, if only for the brief duration of a concert or a podcast. You've been listening to ZINDERING, a podcast about music, silence, and stillness. Today's theme was silencing. We heard live concerts by the Golnar and Mahan trio, music from the soundtrack to The Female Voice of Iran, followed by a performance of the Armenian-inspired music by the Akhtamar Quartet and the Quartet for the End of Time, performed by Et Collectief Mechels Kammer Orchestra, the Mechelen Collective Chamber Orchestra. The festival is directed by Yalda and took place in Mechelen from December 9th to 13th, 2021. This podcast was produced by myself, Guy Livingston, with special thanks to Aletta Becker and Colette Kinsella. Tune in next week for an episode on inner silence.
ZINDERING.
ZINDERING.
ZINDERING.